Welcome back. Well, the Taliban says all of Afghanistan is now under their control. This week, they claimed victory over the last province that was holding out, Panjshir. But resistance forces say they're going to keep fighting. Ahmed Massoud, the leader of the National Resistance Front, was fighting the Taliban in that province, is calling for an uprising. He's the son of Ahmed Shah Massoud, a legendary military commander who was assassinated on this day 20 years ago by al-Qaeda, 2 days before the September 11 attacks. Resistance fighters are also urging the international community not to recognize the Taliban's new government made up entirely of Taliban leaders. Well, joining me now live via Skype is Khalid Noor. He was a member of the former Afghan government's team that was holding peace talks with the Taliban, and he's now working to form a national resistance. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lynda.
So at 25 years old, you were the youngest member of Afghanistan's peace negotiating team, which means you were just about 5 years old when the Taliban was last in power. How do you negotiate with the Taliban, and how can you take them at their word?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, Linda, for having me. It was very interesting to talk to the Taliban, and obviously, I do not remember most of the things they had done before 2001 because I was too young. But in our talks and negotiations, what I try to do is I try to show them that the new generation has changed. There is a new generation who have grown up post 2001 with a government that was democratic. Of course, it had its problems. We knew our rights. We had freedom of speech. We had women rights in Afghanistan. So it was interesting for me to sit across the table from a group of extremist people and try to convince them that the world has changed and that the Afghanistan has changed. But unfortunately, it was almost impossible to convince them.
I mean, the Taliban claim to have changed, right? Over the past few weeks, they said that women's rights would be protected. But upon taking over, they told women to stay home for their own safety. Do you think that the Taliban have changed at all?
Not at all. Not at all. I have talked to them in the past, and I have spoken out about this issue that the Taliban has not changed a little bit. They have only become a bit smart on how to use media. They know that better than they used to know. Other than that, the way they want to rule the country, the way they want the people of Afghanistan to live, and the women rights and the right to education and freedom of speech, all of that is still the same as it was before 2001. They do not respect our minorities. For example, we just saw their new governments, and we didn't have a single woman, and we did not have a single Hazara or Shia minorities in that cabinet. That shows how small is their mind and how isolated they are in terms of inclusivity and acceptance.
The peace talks in Doha were extensive. They involved various factions, political and social factions in Afghanistan, talking with the Taliban. Yet despite those talks, the Taliban swiftly took over Afghanistan with force. What went wrong?
Well, Linda, in our negotiations for almost more than 10 months, we tried to be as serious as we could in terms of our side on negotiating a political settlement in which we could find a solution for the country. But however, in every day of our meetings with the Taliban and negotiations at the table, the Taliban only tried to buy themselves time and try to waste our time and only sort of keep that timeline that they had with the US to come to an end. We saw at the end, obviously, we had a lack of leadership in the country as well. We had president who did not listen to anyone, who also did not believe in collective decision making or inclusivity, but at least that the negotiating members, that our team, we were trying to be as independent as we could because we were representing the people, not the figures in the country. So that's why we tried our best. But what went wrong was it was the Taliban. They didn't want to negotiate. They didn't have any interest in terms of negotiations and a political settlement. And now we are here.
Yeah. So just a quick question. Will you leave Doha to return to Afghanistan, or is that too risky?
Say that again, please.
Will you leave Doha to return to Afghanistan, or is that too risky?
Well, I will return to Afghanistan, not just myself, but all the leaders of Afghanistan will return back to Afghanistan. Obviously, we have told the Taliban, our message was clear that we would like to solve the problem of Afghanistan through negotiations. And our demands are very clear, and it is about the rights and about the values of our people. It's about election, it's about women's rights. And if they accept that, and if they prefer, and if they're smart enough to accept a political settlement, then we will go and negotiate with them. But if they impose their governance on us, which they are doing right now, when I return, I believe it will be about resistance, and it will be about an armed resistance in the country.
Yeah. All right, Khalid Noor, good to get perspective from you. We really appreciate your time today and hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynda.